Punktorah Productions. Sponsored by Darshan Yeshiva.
So just reviewing this is going to get us canceled, I'm convinced, because this is All in the Family, a show that would never be on TV, this given climate. This is All in the Family, Archie's eulogy for Stretch Cunningham. So it turns out that Stretch Cunningham, his co-worker that he had for many years and who he told a lot of dirty jokes around, have a little secret. So to set this up, Archie is going to the funeral and mayhem ensues. So here we go. Okay, so right in this moment, I guess this is the rabbi or this is someone, is actually singing a sort of song, a prayer called El Mele Rachamim. I don't think anyone is standing though, so that's a little bit strange because typically for this prayer everyone would be standing. Also, it looks like there's a menorah that's lit in the front, and that's also something you wouldn't do. I mean, maybe this is like a Shiva candle type thing. But I've never seen someone light a full menorah like that. Also, it looks like it's an actual menorah, not a Hanukkah. There's a difference there. You'll have to, look online and find out the difference.
Come on, we made a mistake. This is a funeral for a Jewish guy.
Wait, there's Mr. Moore.
Mr. Bunker, I'm so glad you're here. We're just about ready for you. Here's your
Okay, so if you look at the yarmulkes, they're all black, as kind of common in a funeral, but also they're made of rayon or polyester or whatever. So there's this thing, they call them skull caps. So basically it's these really, really cheap yarmulkes that they hand out at these types of things. And they do them too at like weddings and stuff like that, but they're usually a lot kind of nicer at weddings and bar mitzvahs and stuff like that. But the ones that they have, they're really, really thin. You could probably look through them. It's like something that you'd buy on like Shein, like super, super cheap stuff. But anyway.
Hold on, wait a minute. What's going on here?
I guess Stretch must have been Jewish.
Stretch Jewish with a name like Cunningham?
Oh, no, Archie, what's in the name?
A Jewish name ain't supposed to have no ham in it.
So, the thing about Jewish names, so people just changed their names. So sometimes people say that they have an Ellis Island name or something like that. And there's not a lot of evidence that that's the case. Some of that is just apocryphal. One example of that is actually completely unrelated to Judaism, but it's in the movie The Godfather 2, where you find out that Vito Corleone is actually from a place called Corleone, and that they got his name wrong. It's a very similar type of thing where people will say, oh, their name got misspelled or mixed up, whatever. But more often than not, people just kind of changed their names. In the case of Jewish people, name changes happened many, many, many times. But for Stretch Cunningham, it's just likely that his family wanted to assimilate. However, he's now having a Jewish funeral, so there you go.
Can't believe this. If he was really Jewish, why didn't he tell some of his closest buddies? It wouldn't have made no difference.
Maybe he thought it would.
Friends, we are here today to say farewell to Jerome Cunningham, beloved son of Chaim Kornheimer.
There you go.
A close friend of Jerome's is here today to say some parting words. Mr. Archie Bunker.
Wait a minute, don't forget your...
So something I cut this off exactly the wrong time because you missed the joke. But one of the things I wanted to point out is that there's no open casket. It's always closed like that.
beanie.
Don't forget your beanie. I like it. Yeah, you can see how thin it is like that.
Don't put your foot in the eye.
So you can tell when this is supposed to be happening in the 70s because you can see an Israeli flag right there in the corner. So you obviously wouldn't have had that before the founding of the State of Israel, but ended up happening that after the founding of the State of Israel, the Israeli flag, along with the American flag or whatever country you happen to be in, were put on the bimas, put on the altars.
See, I had a speech here to read, but it's got 2 or 3 Jesuses in it. Not that there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, after all, Jesus himself was a Jew until his father sat him down and told him no more of that.
Yeah, that's right. Jesus was Jewish, and actually, poor Jesus. He actually came from a region that wasn't even within the sort of Roman Empire. Was actually part of a section of the Roman Empire that was secondary to the Roman Empire. So not only was he colonized, but he was colonized by the B-movie version of the colonizers.
Well, even so, I could use it because it's got heavens in there too, and I don't know if Stretch believed in heaven. And well, even if he did, maybe he wouldn't want to go there because well, it's full of Christians up there, and him being a Jew, maybe he'd be scared to be laying for him up there. I worked shoulder to shoulder with Stretch for 11, 12 years, and I knew him good. Well, not as good as I thought. I wish I'd have knew he was Jewish because there was an awful lot of remarks and jokes passed around a job there, some of the other guys was great for that, Not that Stretch ever felt bad. He was one of the up guys, one of them uppest guys you ever met. See, he's always laughing, telling jokes himself. Many is Jewish joke he told. Like he told the one about the priest said to the rabbi. He told about the priest said to the rabbi, "How come you never eat no ham?" And the rabbi says, "Well, it's against my religion." And the rabbi said to the priest, "How come you never go out with a girl?" And the priest said, "Well, that's against my religion." And the rabbi said, "You ought to try it. It's better than ham."
There's a couple of versions of that joke. The one that I know is they're on an airplane together.
I wouldn't have believed that Stretch was a Jew, because after all, he wasn't a doctor or a lawyer in the dress business, nothing like that.
All right, let's go on ahead and dispel some of these stereotypes. So approximately 10% of the Jewish community lives in poverty. Not every Jew is a doctor, a lawyer, a rabbi, whatever. And it's actually a huge problem that this stereotype exists because, in the words of Barry Weiss, this is punching up. Right? So anti-Semitism is really interesting because most forms of prejudice punch down, right? It's you are subhuman, right? You are taking from the welfare state, or you're taking from the social safety net, or you are sort of taking away from people's jobs and things like that, or you're a drain on productivity. Anti-Semitism is different because it punches up. It's an anti-elitism. And so whenever you have populism and strains of populism going on in a society, that's when anti-Semitism is always going to go up. Barry Weiss famously said, and I think it's true, that anti-Semitism is a great barometer for a society that's in decline.
He was just like myself. He was just an ordinary, hard-working stiff.
Poor word choice.
Hard-working union man, and you could never tell that Stretch was Jewish by looking at his face, and I never see nothing else. I'm really.
So for those of you who don't get the joke, that's about, you know, down there.
Like a birth certificate or nothing like that, you know? Well, I better wind this up. I heard it said that the blues, you know, having the blues takes years off of your life. And if that's true, then it must be true that laughing puts years on your life. And if that's true, then Stretch put some years on my life. And you gotta love a guy for doing that.
I like that.
So, Stretch, Jerome, unless you're down at this end here. I only wish that while you was living, that I made you laugh a little more. Shalom.
Damn, that gave me chills. That's good. It actually reminds me of a funeral I had once for a gentleman who was a biker, right? He liked riding motorcycles. And so at the funeral, there were all different kinds of people, but a big section of it was guys that he used to ride with. And so they came in with their motorcycle jackets on, and they had big old crusty beards and all of that. And one guy came up to do a eulogy, a non-Jewish guy, and he gave a eulogy that was very similar to this. And the difference, though, is that he knew that the deceased was Jewish, and they had a lot of conversations and things like that. And he was kind of holding his jacket while he was giving the eulogy. And he said, you know, I knew that this man was Jewish, and we talked a lot about that and other things. And then he sort of pulled his jacket, and he said, you know, I used to have the patch of the SS, which is a Nazi symbol. He said, now, and he sort of pulled his jacket and he pointed to it, and he said, because of this gentleman, I now don't carry the patch of the SS, I carry the patch of the State of Israel. And I tell you, this was one of those like I almost lost it moments, because it's so profound how beautiful friendship is. And that's what this video is about, the power of individual relationships. As a side note, the guy also had the Confederate flag on his patch too. But you know what? Like, you take the good with the bad.